Hey guys, it's Sami, and this is Pro Wrestling Unlimited, as we are here on the 17th of June 2019 to talk about everything that went down tonight on Monday Night Raw. I thought tonight's Monday Night Raw was a really, really good show, and if I'm going to speculate, I think there was a reason for that. If they were anywhere else, I don't think the show would have been as good for one simple reason. They're going to Fox in the fall. They're in Los Angeles. There was most likely Fox executives live at SmackDown or at Raw tonight. So I believe that could have been the reason why tonight's show was so much better than normal, because they're in front of the people they're trying to impress. They're trying to impress the Fox executives. And so if they're going to be there, they want to show them good, cool things. I think they used different camera angles and different areas of the building we don't normally see in a better way tonight. And so we'll see if it continues. I don't have a lot of faith in that. I don't have a lot of hope that some of the cool, better things we saw tonight continue. And there was some stuff that was still kind of meh and not that great. So, I don't know. Looking at the chat here. Yeah. Henry McKinnon said, did Bray Wyatt mess up your audio after Firefly Fun House? It happened to me too. Between right when Firefly Fun House ended till right when the main event started the first time, audio was only coming out of the right side of speakers. I tried it with my TV. I tried it on my computer and with just headphones on my computer. Only right side audio for, 15, 20 minutes. So, actually, Luke, you're not late. We just started 2 minutes ago. Luke, you're good. For some reason, YouTube didn't send out an early notification when I did say, hey, we're going live at this time. Send out the early notification. YouTube didn't send it, so Yeah, Joe, they gave up on that dim the lights and the black and white graphics for the final hour like 2 weeks in. So that was something that hasn't been around for a while already. But as far as Raw goes tonight, like I said, I really enjoyed the show. I really liked it, and the show kicked off with Elias in the middle of the ring. Elias said that he asked his friend Anthony Davis why he would move to Los Angeles, and Davis answered that he was a piece of garbage who wanted to be surrounded by other pieces of garbage, and that's why he wants to be in LA, where the air is toxic. Elias then said that he was invited here tonight to Monday Night Raw because Baron Corbin has selected him to be the special guest referee for his title match on Sunday. This then brought out the Universal Champion Seth Rollins, who did attack him from behind with a steel chair. Rollins hit him repeatedly and then stated that whoever wants to align themselves with Baron Corbin or help out Baron Corbin tonight, he's going to take him out. He's going to beat him down with said steel chair. So this apparently just eliminated Elias. Couple chair shots and he's out for the week. He can't even come back on Sunday. I don't understand that one. You see guys get beat up way worse on a Monday and sometimes show up on Tuesday. So we'll see. Nelson says, wrong. Anthony Davis joined because the Pelicans suck ass. Well, if you talk to LeVar Ball, he said his plan all along was to get his son over to the Pelicans. So I don't know. That's probably just him trying to make what's the word I'm looking for? Good out of a bad situation, maybe. So this segment literally lasted 4 minutes with Elias and Seth Rollins. Literally lasted 4 minutes, and then we went straight into some action. We went straight into a match, which I really enjoyed that they did that. That we went straight into a match and not just, drag this out 15, 20 minutes. So Miz would come out. This was a little redundant. I thought this was kind of dumb, but Miz would come out, and he would get in the ring, and Elias was kind of getting to his feet, and he hits him with a skull-crushing finale. Bobby Lashley then came down, spears Elias. Miz was just sitting there on the top turnbuckle watching. Cesaro then comes out next, shrugged his shoulders, and goes, I'll take a shot, and hits Elias with a swing. Miz is still sitting on the top turnbuckle, counting the number of swings. Out would come Ricochet. gave him a code breaker. Braun Strowman would finally come down and power slam Elias, so maybe that's how Elias is out till Sunday. So then we got a 5-way that wasn't announced as an elimination prior, but was turned into an elimination. Match went just shy of 15 minutes, and the first couple eliminations were quick. Strowman dominated early on after Cesaro gave him a Death Valley driver, which was super impressive. Strowman then gave Cesaro a power slam, then power slammed Lashley onto Cesaro. Strowman then pinned Cesaro to eliminate him first. Soon after that, Strowman gave Lashley a power slam and eliminated him quickly. Cesaro and Lashley then both, after being eliminated only about 2-3 minutes into the match, came back in and helped Ricochet eliminate Braun Strowman. Cesaro and Lashley attacked Strowman. Lashley gave him a spear. Cesaro gave him a neutralizer. Again, a very impressive spot by Cesaro. Ricochet then followed it up with a 630 splash and pinned Strowman with Cesaro and Lashley on top of him to make sure the pin goes through. So after a commercial break, it was down to Ricochet and The Miz. Ricochet nailed a flip dive on Miz. Miz later spiked Ricochet with a DDT for a 2. Miz followed it up with kicks. Ricochet turned it into a figure 4 attempt into a schoolboy for a 2. Miz then applied the figure 4 on Ricochet, and Ricochet did eventually reverse it. Miz reversed it back, and Ricochet got to the ropes. Miz then tried a springboard move, but Ricochet caught him with a code breaker, followed it up with a 630, and pinned The Miz. Ricochet will move on to Stomping Grounds this coming Sunday night to challenge Samoa Joe for the WWE United States Championship, and I think this is the best option you had. I think this was the best opponent out of these 5 that you could have gave to Samoa Joe, because Samoa Joe, he's got experience with guys like Ricochet. I mean, when we first learned about Samoa Joe on a mainstream level, on a national level in TNA, he was in the X Division, killing it with guys like Christopher Daniels, guys like AJ Styles. And so, I mean, this is right up Samoa Joe's alley. A Ricochet match? Heck yeah. So as Ricochet celebrated in the ring, Joe did attack him from behind. Ricochet fought back and gave him a Fosbury flop. They then plugged that later on tonight, Seth Rollins will be taking on Daniel Bryan. They noted that Rollins has never defeated Bryan one-on-one, and the last time that the two of them even squared off in singles competition was back in February 2015, just 3 months, no, 2 months, maybe, 2 months before Daniel Bryan had his almost career-ending injury. Well, career-ending final match. So Becky Lynch had come out for a promo, and I thought this was one of the weaker segments of the show. Lynch came out to an okay to good reaction, not good to great. She called out Lacey Evans immediately. Lacey came down and she called Lacey dopey. Lacey would then say that stuff was bad here in Los Angeles, made fun of the town again. There was 3 times where they made fun of the town. First with Elias, then with Lacey, and then later on with the Iconics. Lacey mocked her for speaking Lynch mocked Lacey for speaking slowly. Evans continued speaking and got the what treatment. Evans said that she's been through things that Becky Lynch couldn't even understand. She noted that they're here in Hollywood, and there should be a movie made about her. She mentions that she's a former U.S. Marine, unlike Becky Lynch, and I think this is the first time on the main roster they've mentioned that. And I think they should go more in with that, but we'll see how it goes. I doubt they'll do anything with that. I think this is Lacey's been on the main roster since January now. She's had 2 victories, and I think she hasn't even wrestled on a Raw since March 6th, maybe, before WrestleMania. So as Evans was coming down to the ring, she said the division needs somebody like her as their champion. Lynch said that she knew her story. You don't have to keep telling me, but she doesn't keep telling us about the whole Marine thing, so I don't get that. Evans said that Lynch was beatable. She said that was proven at Money in the Bank when she helped Charlotte Flair take the SmackDown's Women's Championship from Becky. As she slowly got into the ring, Evans that is, Becky cut her off, started beating her up. Lynch grabbed her and gave her a Bexplex. Lynch's music then played, and she walked off. Very nothing segment, kind of. Just like something we've seen 10 times already. But then I really like this. So you got the big crane camera. Well, I don't even know if this was the crane camera because the way they shot it. But you have a camera where you're seeing like high up above the crowd, and it swoops down and it goes to like this side entrance back in through the crowd, and it swoops around the hallway, and it shows this big VIP locker room, whatever you want to call it, where Shane McMahon is, and you see the Revival. And the way this was shot was done so well because the Revival walked in at the perfect time. The Revival are dressed up really nice, kind of like an old, Horseman tag team. Old Tully and Narn dressed up, nice button-up shirts tucked in with their belts and their slacks, and they just look like champions. They looked great, and I think this is how they need to portray themselves going forward. They're an old school tag team, so portray yourselves like an old school championship tag team. So they walked into this VIP lounge, I guess you can call it, where Shane McMahon and Drew McIntyre were. They were given some champagne, and they were all chilling and hanging out. Charlie Caruso then told Corbin that Elias, he's no longer able to be the special referee, and she asked him if he was going to be scrambling to find a replacement. Corbin said that he already had a replacement in mind and would reveal it later on the Kevin and Sami show. Rollins would then show up and nail him with a steel chair. Rollins said, if he's got another replacement, I've got more work to do. Oh, Luke, we'll get to that in a minute. So Bryan cut a promo with Rowan. Bryan understood why the McMahons wanted him here as a wild card tonight because this place sucks. Bryan was referring to both Monday Night Raw and the city of Los Angeles. He called Los Angeles the smog capital of America, filled with impotent people. Bryan then said that they were here to lift them up and excite them. Bryan says that he would excite them by beating the hell, destroying Seth Rollins later on tonight, proving that he's one half of the tag team champions, but he's also better than everybody on the Raw roster. It was also a message to the Raw tag team division. He said, prepare to be excited. This then brought out the Viking Raiders, and I thought this was the perfect use of the Viking Raiders. Viking Raiders come down. They stare down Bryan and Rowan. You hear Corey Graves say, hey, maybe the Viking Raiders can use the wild card rule to go to SmackDown and challenge them for the titles. Subtle. And hopefully WWE can remember that subtleness and use it sometime down the line. So the Viking Raiders took on Russ and Randy Taylor. 30-second squash. Viking Raiders killed them with the Viking experience, and this is what they need to be doing. They need to be doing the squash matches with these guys to get them over as big, strong, scary, just like they did with Nia and just like they did with Strowman when they first started the brand split back in 2016. I think this is perfect. They cut to the front row where a bunch of fans were booing because, Viking Raiders are the heels, apparently. And then the camera's going along, and then it stops and goes backwards, and you see R-Truth and Carmella in disguise. Now, here's my issue with this. It's probably one of the weaker 24/7 segments we've seen so far, and I didn't like how quickly all these guys ran out. Because if you didn't know that Truth and Carmella were sitting front row, how could all these guys be bunched together and run out all the way down to ringside so quickly? It was like, basically, before the camera even cut back, they would have had to been halfway down the ramp. So I didn't like that aspect. And now you've got Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins out there since they're no longer tag team champions. Truth jumped over the barricade for some stupid reason, which he should have just ran through the crowd. But Truth jumped over the barricade, slid under the ring, and I liked Renee goes, we need that under the ring camera to get turned on. Let's see what's under there. And so they start pulling somebody out from under the ring on the other side because they think, okay, he jumps in on this side. Let's run around and catch him before he comes out on the other side. And they pull out Titus O'Neil instead, which again, kind of dumb. We don't need no much more of this Titus World Slide, Titus hide under the ring crap. This then allowed Truth and Carmella to escape. They ran through the crowd, and that was all that we actually saw of R-Truth and Carmella for the whole night. And here's the thing. Last week on SmackDown, Truth was supposed to be hiding in like a box or a crate or a bin, whatever you want to call it. And they were like, well, this bin's headed to Los Angeles. So you would think that Truth would not be seen until tonight's Raw. And he shouldn't have been seen until they were getting him out of the crate. But there was a video online over the weekend of him at the house shows. So that again, continuity lost. So then, in a very good segment, Heath Slater shows up to Shane McMahon's VIP party. Slater asked Shane McMahon, well, first he told him, I got kids. And he asked him, he said, with them getting older, they need more things. They got more experiences that they want to experience. And he asked for a raise in his contract. Revival laughed. And Shane thought that it took guts for him to ask, but he understands what it's like to have kids. But at this time, no, he's not going to get a raise, and he's going to have to leave. Shane then looks at McIntyre and nods. And McIntyre follows Slater out of the room. And I loved this dynamic because they're 3MB buddies. They were together for so long. McIntyre knows Slater's dilemma, his problems, and all that. So Slater was on the phone with someone breaking the bad news. I assume it was like his wife or something. And McIntyre pulled some cash out of his pocket. And it was like, take this. And Slater denied. And McIntyre dropped the cash. Slater went to pick it up. And McIntyre attacks him. As he's beating down Slater, Revival and Shane come out and pull him off. As they're doing this is great. As they're doing this, Scott Dawson just sneakily grabs the cash, sticks it in his pocket, which got the crowd laughing pretty good. They return to the party, and Dash Wilder picks up the rest of the cash. I thought that was simple comedy, but done in a great way. Cameron Barry, yeah, that's all way old news. So then we got the Kevin and Sami show. Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn were already out in the ring. Owens apologized, saying that Bob messed up and didn't make new graphics, so it was still all said the KO show. He angrily yelled, "Thanks a lot, Bob." I loved that. Again, there was a lot of subtle things on tonight's Raw that just ties things together and make things what's the word I'm looking for? Consistent. So Zayn removed himself, said that he was removing himself from consideration as the referee for the Rollins Baron Corbin match. He said after what happened to him with Rollins last week, he didn't want any of that again tonight. Owens also removed himself from consideration out of solidarity for Sami Zayn. Again, little things. They say, oh, we don't want to be your ref, but they tell you why. And it all ties into stuff that happened last week. Owens and Zayn then gave Corbin a drum roll as he reveals his special guest referee, EC3. EC3 had come out on the stage and was immediately attacked by Seth Rollins. Again, too quick on the jump there. Like, if Rollins was able to come out that quickly, then he would have seen EC3 in the gorilla position wearing the referee shirt. So then he would have attacked him backstage. But again, minor little things on nitpicking on an actual good episode of Raw. So he was attacked with a chair and Rollins left. As Corbin contemplated what to do next, he was interrupted by the New Day. They placed a jacket over EC3's quote-unquote dead body. Zayn said, I checked the lineup and you're not considered wild cards tonight. And this is one thing that kind of took me out of it. Kofi literally says, it's okay, I'm WWE champion, which means I get to go wherever I want. No, it doesn't. It means you're WWE champion, the champion of SmackDown. It doesn't mean you get to make the rules. The rules are, which we don't know how many wild cards there's supposed to be every week. 1 week there's 4, 1 week there's a limited number. But it's still supposed to be you're invited to come to Raw or invited to come to SmackDown. So Kofi wasn't invited, so should he be reprimanded? Because they've said that before too. If you show up and you're not invited, you get reprimanded. Owens then warns Kofi Kingston that Dolph Ziggler didn't take the title from him. Owens will do it instead. Kingston reminded Owens that he lost at Money in the Bank. Kingston said that he was ready for Ziggler on Sunday, who had nowhere to run. Corbin then said that he'd heard enough and challenged them to a 6-man tag. Xavier Woods was willing, but they needed an official to approve it. Woods and Big E then picked up EC3's dead body, held a mic to his lifeless face, and basically used him like a puppet to make the match official. So what they're insinuating is that referees can now make matches. Again, what? I never knew that Mike Chioda and John Cone and Chad Patton can just say, I don't have to talk to the McMahons or any other official. Let's just make a match. I didn't know that was a thing. But, okay. So next week, I want John Cone making matches. I'm just saying. I see AJ Styles in the trainer's room backstage. The doctor seemed to be, I guess, about to clear him. And they were interrupted by Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, who were dressed up as doctors. They were like, "We're doctors. We'll take care of this." And AJ's like, "No. Don't let them touch me." Like, jokingly. Styles said he was happy to see them and recalled that it was 3 years ago when they debuted in this very building beating up the Usos. Styles mentioned the battles that they had the battles that they had in Japan and whatnot. Anderson and Gallows said that they have a match with the Usos later, and they're gonna prove why they were considered one of the best tag teams in the world back in the day by taking out what many consider the best tag team today. Styles told them that they've gotten too comfortable here in the WWE. He said that, he's like, "When were you last on TV, let alone ever won a match?" He told them to get serious. Anderson then gets in Styles' face and then reiterated that they're going to beat the Usos tonight. So then we get the 6-man tag team match that all of a sudden turned into 2 out of 3 falls. Like, what? When was that announced? It was just all of a sudden, oh, hey, by the way, this is 2 out of 3 falls. Mike Rome making up rules now? The New Day won the first fall really quickly in less than 4 minutes. Woods would pin Zayn with a schoolboy. After commercial break, the heels worked over Big E. Big E gave Owens a belly-to-belly suplex and made the hot tag to Kingston, who hit Corbin with strikes and a flying crossbody for a 2. Kingston followed it up with a boom drop, but after Zayn's distraction, Corbin gave Kingston the deep 6. Woods and Big E broke up the cover. They were both then sent to the outside by Sami and Kevin. Kingston ducked a clothesline from Corbin and nailed Zayn by accident, taking out his own partner. Owens then stuck up for his friend and super kicked Corbin. Owens and Zayn that had enough of this and left, saying we don't need to deal with any of this. Kingston then gave Corbin a trouble in paradise and pinned him. New Day won 2 straight falls. Crowd loved the New Day for the most part. They were in and out of this. They kind of got out of this a little, like they were kind of perturbed when Kofi earlier did make the statement of, "I'm W champion. I get to do what I want to do." So backstage, Alexa Bliss handed Nikki Cross a gift. It was like a note inside of a coffee mug. She goes, "Oh, you're giving me another mug." She's like, "Well, yeah, but it's what's inside the mug." She opened it up and said, "You have been invited to join Alexa Bliss in a WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match later tonight against the Iconics." Cross was very excited and wondered how she pulled this off. Bliss knew that she was upset about not getting a title shot despite beating Peyton Royce a few weeks ago, so she worked her magic to get the title shot. Bliss said WWE would finally have a women's champion who knew how to treat the fans. Cross didn't know what she meant by that. Bliss then mentioned something about Bayley and quickly moved on. Well, Heyman would then come out to the ring. Heyman admitted to not being comfortable in the ring with Rollins running around attacking people randomly with chairs. He made it clear that he was not the special referee, then said that you'd have to be a dumbass to accept that spot, considering what Rollins is doing tonight. Heyman said that Rollins and the LA Lakers had something in common. They both traded away their balls. The Lakers traded away their ball, as far as, Lonzo Ball goes, to get a new teammate for LeBron, just to disappoint the fans. And Rollins traded his balls for a steel chair. Heyman noted that Rollins had a match tonight against the formidable opponent in Daniel Bryan, and just made it known that, hey, maybe Mr. Money in the Bank Brock Lesnar's looming around somewhere. Crowd lightly cheered. He said maybe he was, maybe he wasn't, and then the crowd booed. Heyman said that Lesnar would be there on Sunday, or maybe even next Monday. Who knows when he's going to be ready to cash in? He said nobody knows, including the soon-to-be former Universal Champion Seth Rollins. Good little segment by Heyman. I don't know if it was needed, but it was a decent little 5-minute, 6-minute thing. So backstage, Corbin offered Eric Young to be his referee. Eric Young said, I'm going to have to think about it. So Corbin goes one way, Eric Young walks another way, and Young stops. And he looks at Rollins and goes, hey, so that, I never accepted. I told him I'd think about it. I'm not thinking about it anymore. Rollins said, we've known each other for a very long time. We go way back. I believe you. I trust you. He said, you wouldn't do anything to hurt our long-term friendship, would you? And Young was like, no. So Rollins walked off. Eric Young thought he was in the clear, and he wasn't. He got attacked repeatedly with steel chair shots from Seth Rollins. So then, remember earlier when AJ told Gallows and Anderson to get serious, and they said that they were going to show why they're one of the best tag teams in defeating the Usos? Yeah, no, this match goes not even 3 minutes. Styles was shown watching the match on television, rooting on his friends. Anderson was in control, but wasted too much time gloating. Tagged in Gallows, but they were fought off by the Usos. Both Usos gave Gallows a super kick, pinned him, 1, 2, 3. There you go. Usos defeated Gallows and Anderson, and AJ was shown in the back, very disappointed. So I don't know where this is going to lead to. If maybe Gallows and Anderson keep getting beat, and then finally AJ gets them a victory, or AJ helps them win, or AJ just finally pumps them up enough to get victory. I don't know. Hopefully it leads to something. So then Roman Reigns, well, first they showed a Twitter video of Hulk Hogan. So they show Hulk Hogan on the screen, and instantly my son goes, who's that? I was like, oh, that's Hulk Hogan. He goes, who? I was like, yeah, don't worry about it. It was a video that Hulk Hogan posted over the weekend cheering on the U.S. women's soccer team. He used a line of, wipe Chile off the face of the map. So Roman Reigns would come out. Reigns said that at Super Showdown, since Super Showdown, it's not been good for him. Not been a good week. But he didn't want to make any excuses, because excuses aren't entertaining. He said what's entertaining is whooping some ass. He challenged Shane McMahon to come down and face him face-to-face, man-to-man, fight him by himself tonight. Shane appeared on the screen and had Mike Rome do his best in the world introduction. Shane told Reigns that he was no Shane. Let me rephrase that. Shane told Reigns that there was no shame in losing to the best in the world. McIntyre then cut a promo on Reigns about their match. Reigns was quickly as bored as the rest of us, because he abruptly left. He abruptly left and walked to the back. The Revival tried to cut him off, but he laid them out. Reigns then entered the VIP room and attacked Shane and McIntyre. He took out McIntyre with a nice uppercut and went for Shane. McIntyre tried to take down Reigns, but Reigns would take down McIntyre by putting him through a table. Shane would then run through the crowd, and Shane did a nice little leap right on and over the barricade kind of deal. But then Roman did his dive over the barricade that looked good too. Reigns then threw Shane into the barricade, threw Shane into the ring, hit him with a Superman punch, then a spear. He grabbed the microphone, told Shane McMahon, crawl to the back until McIntyre whoop his ass on Sunday. I liked it. I thought it was effective. Roman's probably losing at stomping grounds. It's been proven that 70 to 80% of the time, whoever stands tall on the Monday or Tuesday before the pay-per-view loses. Again, 70 to 80% of the time, whoever stands tall, like Roman did tonight, loses. So in another dumb segment, like what the hell's Bayley doing on Raw? She didn't have a match. She wasn't invited here for the wild card rule, but she's chilling in the back with Naomi and Natalya, and Charlie Caruso appears. She goes, Bayley, hey, have you seen these social media posts suggesting that you won't take pictures with fans because they're wearing Nikki Cross shirts? And Bayley instantly goes, that's obviously set up by Alexa Bliss. I'll do something about this. And keep in mind, the next match is Alexa and Nikki challenging for the women's tag titles. So Naomi and Natalya are backstage, and they're kind of like, what is this all about? Kind of, looks on their faces or whatever. Renee Young thought that this implication was hot, steaming garbage, which is the second time she's kind of used that line tonight. The Iconics would then come out, cut a promo bashing Los Angeles, made jokes about LeBron James, saying that he's a former champion, but then he came to LA where he's not going to win a title. Even Corey Graves commented on how tired he was of these LeBron James jokes. Renee gave the Toronto Raptors a shout out. Bayley then watched from ringside. Bliss was knocked off the apron and got face-to-face with Bayley. Bliss shoved Bayley down. Suddenly, Billie Kay rolled up Cross for the pinfall victory. This match, so quickly, I didn't even get a time. This was dumb, redundant, retarded. I didn't like this at all. So they didn't even get on camera because they cut back to ringside where Bayley shoved down Bliss. They barely got the pin on camera, and they quickly moved away from this. Showed replays. It was bad. Backstage, Bliss apologized to Nikki Cross. Cross put the entire blame on Bayley. Said that she crushed her dreams, and that she's going to be there on Sunday in Alexa's corner to maybe help Alexa crush Bayley's dreams of retaining the title. The crowd kind of cheered for that. Then we got Firefly Fun House. Probably one of the better ones we've seen so far. So Bray was watering some plants, and he goes, oh, hey, I'm just doing some gardening. And he talks about why he built the Firefly Fun House to start. He says, for all of us to come together and be one, basically. They showed all the different puppets, and they were like, join us. Join us. Even the Vince puppet, join us. Bray then said, people worship what they fear. And fear was power. A radio dial turned a few different, there was like a song that was playing. It was like the Muscle Man dance song, but it was, every time like you would see the radio dial thing, it would change the Muscle Man dance song to like a different genre. And then Bray finally creepily appeared wearing his mask. And he said, follow the leader. Well, you hear a child's voice say, follow the leader. And then they finished with Bray saying, let me in. And then he like disappeared from the screen, but like you still see the Firefly Funhouse set. So I thought he was going to appear in the ring, but he didn't, even though Bray was there live backstage at Raw. So why bring him there if he's not even going to be used in front of the live crowd? I didn't get that at all. So then Bryan asked Charlie Caruso after this why nobody had the common sense. He said, he literally, I get this question perfectly. It's like, he's like, I'm going to destroy Seth Rollins tonight. But my one thing is, why didn't anybody have common sense to take the chair from him? Bryan said that Rollins was not a better wrestler than him. And while Rollins might be the Beast Slayer, he's never beaten him. Rollins was then shown backstage, walking around with a chair. Lynch walked past him. They acknowledged that they're dating, and they walked off. Well, the announcers acknowledged it, at least. So, we get Seth versus Bryan, and the match ends in like a minute and a half with a DQ because Seth goes for a dive to the outside, hits it, goes for a second dive, and he's caught by Rowan. Rowan choke slams him basically onto the edge of the ring, the apron, and they called it off. Referee calls for the DQ, and then everybody starts running down. So they're beating on Seth, and the New Day run down just to make the save. Owens and Zayn then run down. So I'm like, okay, this is kind of making a little bit of sense. But then all of a sudden, the Revival run down. And then the Usos run down. They're all brawling and brawling. The baby faces took out the heels with dives. The brawl continues. A bunch of officials came to break it up. And then you hear Mike Rome make an announcement over the loudspeaker. He says, "Ladies and gentlemen, this match will be restarted as a one-on-one competition, and nobody is allowed at ringside." So, because like when the match ended at first, the crowd, you can hear the crowd just mad. And every time somebody else comes out, another team had come out to brawl, the crowd was getting even more mad. They were booing louder and louder. But we ended up getting the match because they thought, minute and a half, no, we don't get this match in front of the live crowd. I would have been mad too at first, but we did get the match. Second portion of this match did end up going 8 minutes, and it was good, really good. Bryan sent Rollins to the outside and shoved him against the steel steps. Bryan followed it up with a running dropkick into the corner. Rollins avoided a second shot of that and nailed him with a clothesline, followed by a sling blade. Bryan avoided a curb stomp, and they traded some roll-up attempts. They traded strikes here for a little while. Bryan missed a kick, and Rollins went for a Pele kick, but Bryan dodged, grabbed the leg, and applied an ankle lock. Great transition here. Bryan then turned it. So Bryan had him in the ankle lock, and Seth was starting to fight out of it. Seth got back up to his feet, and I thought, okay, Seth's going to hit the enziguri here, but then Bryan literally still had the leg clasped, wrapped his arms around Seth, drops the leg, wraps his other arm, boom, German suplex. Phenomenal. Sent Rollins right out of the ring with this. Bryan then followed it up with a flying knee off the apron. Bryan went to the top rope, but Rollins ran up and nailed him with a superplex. Rollins tried to follow it up with the Falcon Arrow, but Bryan countered into the lapel lock until Rollins finally made it to the ropes. Bryan hit the yes kicks and went for the running knee, but Rollins caught him, hit the buckle bomb and a super kick for a near fall. Rollins then tried to go for a frog splash while selling his shoulder. Apparently, his shoulder was pulled out of. I don't even know what happened here. They were trying to play it like he had a separated shoulder or something because Corey goes, "Look at Seth as he's climbing up the ropes. He's popping his shoulder back in place." I was like, well, it ain't that bad. So he goes for the frog splash. Bryan gets the knees up and transitioned it right back into the lapel lock. Rollins slips out of the ring, or slips out of the move, the lapel lock, and uses the schoolboy for a 2. He then hit an enziguri and a curb stomp on Daniel Bryan for the victory. So I loved this ending. All night, Rollins was attacking people with a chair. All night. Attacking. And so Rollins wins his match. He's celebrating on the ramp. And from behind, Corbin attacks him with a steel chair. Corbin hit him 2 or 3 times with the chair. And the last shot appeared to catch Rollins on the back of the head. Ugh, a little bad there. The referees quickly checked on Rollins as Corbin dragged him to the ring. Corbin then gave him an end of days and held up the title, but no announcement of the special ref. But I liked this because the whole night, Seth was using the chair to take people out. And then what happened at the end? He was taken out with a chair. Very, very well done. It was a show-long storyline that paid itself off, was consistent, continuity. I liked it. I actually really liked tonight's episode of Monday Night Raw. And like I said, if they were anywhere else but LA right now, I don't know if this show would have been as good because they were probably trying to impress the Fox people that were, I don't know if they were there, but I would assume they were there. Because we've heard that the last 2 or 3 times they've been in LA for a Raw or SmackDown, Fox executives have been on hand. So I assumed they were there tonight and they wanted to put on as good of a show as possible. And now I just hope some of the stuff they used tonight, like some of the newer camera angles and using different parts of the arena that we usually don't see, and just continuity, more consistency really helps and goes forward. So with that, we're not going to be taking any calls tonight, unfortunately. So I want to say thank you to everybody who did join me tonight for the Monday Night Raw review. And I want to thank everybody who watched it later right here on YouTube or listened on iTunes, Google Play Music, SoundCloud, Stitcher Radio, iHeartRadio. We will be live tomorrow night following Monday or SmackDown Live. And hey, if you guys want to help Pro Wrestling Unlimited grow and you want to get some stuff in turn, you can do so by hitting that join button right down there next to the subscribe button and becoming a member. As a member, you will get early access to new content we will be putting out here shortly. You will also get the use of special emojis and badges next to your name in the live chat. Again, I want to thank everybody who did join us here live or watched later. We will be live tomorrow night following a SmackDown Live. Have a good night, guys.